welcome to a new show here on BATV. We're calling it BATV's Building Blocks. I'm your host for this new show. My name is Andrew. Alongside me at Switcher is our girl Audrey.
Yo.
And then working audio, interwebs, and anything and everything a grip has to do is our boy Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
This is a show where we build a single Lego set and talk about anything and everything along the way. This episode we will be doing the Star Wars Imperial Probe Droid. So if you're looking to have something on in the background or you want to build along with us, we hope you enjoy. So let's get started.
A little history of the Lego set. The first Lego set was made in 1949.
Oh, okay. So it started in really 49?
1949.
I thought it was earlier. Really?
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
If I could find the actual exact set, I will let you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'd actually be interested in what they first started doing. So it's always a good idea when you're building your sets, go ahead and get yourself a little bin or something like that you can open your bags into and dump it in so you don't have Legos all over the place.
Where you're not stepping on them.
Oh, well, that's it's good. That's house security, Jim. I mean, that's.
You ever stepped on a Lego set?
Yeah, I have. Multiple. Come on. Well, you can tell I haven't really done this in a while, huh? That's not the right one. So the Imperial Probe Droid is from The Empire Strikes Back. What year did The Empire Strikes Back come out in?
Let's look it.
The first Star Wars was 77.
1980?
1980, really? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, 77.
Empire Strikes Back was in 1980.
Okay. Yeah, I heard someone make a good point. There's divisive opinions about the Star Wars sequels and the prequels, about the quality of those films. But some people have made a good point, is arguably the reason Star Wars is as big as it is because of The Empire Strikes Back. Because the film, revolutionized sci-fi and science fiction action films. There's a good point that could be made that if The Empire Strikes Back was never made, if you could find a way, to link the original Star Wars and Return of the Jedi, just somehow narratively you make that make sense, you might not have Star Wars be as big as it is. Because you're just, the first Star Wars is a good film, obviously. I mean, it's close to perfect. And then Return of the Jedi tends to be considered the weaker one.
Of the
original trilogy. Return of the Jedi is generally considered to be the weaker one. And it's actually kind of interesting because you can... Little film knowledge here for you folks. You can start to see where George Lucas was going with the prequels actually in Return of the Jedi. Now, George Lucas wasn't the official director for Return of the Jedi, but I think there's some stories anyway that he was somehow involved a little bit with the directing some of the shots. And you can start to see where he started to go with what they call shot reverse shot. If you are in the camp that you're not a big fan of the Star Wars prequels, which I kind of fall in, though I do appreciate them being definitely a singular vision that George had. You can start to see some of the issues even in Return of the Jedi. A lot of shot reverse shot type stuff where it's two people just kind of standing around talking, then one gets up, moves a little bit, and then we're just back to shot, reverse shot. There's a lot of that happening off and on throughout the film. So if you were paying attention, you really shouldn't be caught off guard with some of the, we'll call it, decisions that were made during the filming of the prequels. But anyway, you could make a point that if you didn't have The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars would become just that really good pair of sci-fi movies that, hey, watch the first one. The first one's good, and the second one's okay. You don't have to see it unless you want to finish the story. But really watch, and that'd probably be about the extent of it. It would not be what did Disney pay for it? $4 billion or something like that when they bought the rights to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't. You could make an argument that without The Empire Strikes Back, you don't have a $4 billion property. It would be kind of similar to something like what The Matrix is, really. The first Matrix movie is something you wanna watch because it's a very well done film. It revolutionized, again, kind of like Empire Strikes Back. It revolutionized science fiction storytelling. They invented new action art styles and special effects and yada yada yada. But the two sequel films are not considered to be the best. And there's numerous reasons. I'm sure you could come up with any reason why they're not all that good, or even you might come up with some reasons. Well, it's really good because of X, Y, and Z. It actually is trying to say this, and yada yada yada. But when it comes to cultural influence and influencing the cultural zeitgeist, it's they're not as strong as the first film, and so it's kind of how most people, when it comes to introducing newer generations to the Matrix or whatnot, at least from my experience, it's always, watch the first movie, and don't really worry about the sequels.
To answer your question from earlier, Disney purchased Star Wars for $4.5 billion.
$4.5 billion. Just goes to show $1 million idea can be $1 billion idea if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing. That's the key word there. And of course, the original Star Wars was fraught with a whole bunch of issues. And they were... Well, the first key issue was George Lucas himself was having some problems with making the film. He had to deal with some, I guess, what they would call studio meddling a little bit. Not that I necessarily have any specific stories to give about that, but there is, George had to stop directing that for a little while because he was under so much stress. He was having heart issues. And then there was plenty of shots that were unused. There's actually a lot of unused shots and smaller story plots in the original Star Wars. A lot of characters will come out. You see Biggs show up at the end of the film as Luke's old friend. But really, he played a bigger role in the actual original film. But they cut all that out to make the story more tight and concise. Arguably one of the reasons why it works so well.
Back up. He was having heart issues?
Yeah, so he was under a lot of stress, which, you're making you got to remember, he had, what was George's movie before Star Wars? It was, I'm drawing a blank.
Hold on.
It was like it's like a dystopian movie, I believe. It's actually considered to be pretty good. Getting ahead of myself. was it? He had a couple different movies, I think, but it was like his first big film, backed by big studio money.
American Graffiti.
That was it. I think that was it. But then he gets to Star Wars, and that's his original story that he wants to tell. It's backed big money by a big studio, and there's a lot of pressure when it comes to that. Pressure to deliver. Pressure to do the job right, but also, maintain your vision. And, something like that just builds and builds and builds. I mean, it's not easy to make a movie. And when you have a lot of money and things riding on it, I mean, that's a lot to carry around with you. And so he kind of gave him some heart issues, and his doctor said, you need to stop. And so, he had to take a break, which, if you know anything about making the original Star Wars, it was probably for the best, because that's when George Lucas's wife at the time, I think that's when she started stepping in, at least for the editing side of things, because George was having issues with having the movie cut the way he wanted it to be cut, and the editor wanted to do it a different way. Again, if you kind of follow there's two of these. I already put the front. If you follow George's style of editing, again, and you follow the way the prequels were done, he wanted to cut it in a certain way that we'll say is unorthodox, and the editor wanted to do it an orthodox way. But anyway, once his wife took over, at least in the editing side of things, you could make an argument that is why one of the reasons why the original Star Wars was such a success, because she was making the big edit calls and editing it in a proper storytelling fashion.
Did you know historically that more women are editors than men?
Oh, I could see that, absolutely.
Well, the original machine that was made to cut a physical film was modeled off of a sewing machine. So
really? I did
editing
not
was
know that.
seen as grunt work, and it was passed off to women in old Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. It is the old Hollywood days, so that doesn't surprise me all that much. Did I put the wrong long piece? I probably did. Yeah, I did. Well, that's okay. It's the benefit of Legos. You can make mistakes and then just clean it up afterwards. That one. There we go. Because this one goes here. Going back to Empire Strikes Back, and the quality of it anyway, and just the actual talent that was behind the making of that film. Does everyone know that scene where Luke is having that, we first kind of get reintroduced to our characters, we're on Hoth, and Luke gets hit by that Wampa monster. Does anybody know why they filmed that scene?
No.
No.
Mark Hamill was in a car accident. I think think it was either just before. When you film something, you film out of sequence. Tends to be you just film where things are most convenient for you. So I don't know. I don't remember exactly at what point in the filming process they were doing the Hoth scenes, at least the outdoor ones. I want to say that was one of the first scenes they shot, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, Mark Hamill got into an accident and he had a scar on his face, and so they, in order to explain that scar, they filmed the Wampa scene, which worked out pretty well because they also used it as an example or as a way to not only reintroduce us to our main character, but also to show the progress and growth he's had off screen. Because, we see Luke using the Force a little bit more than we saw him in the first one. He's still struggling a little bit, but he's definitely more skilled than the last time we saw him. It's just the cleverness of the shooting. Nothing is wasted. There's nothing on the screen that is unnecessary. It's all there for a purpose, whether it be to drive the story forward, or the characterization forward, or both.
Well, it's good to know that scene wasn't there to just scare my pants off when I was a little kid.
Oh, there's that too, absolutely. Now, depending on how old you are, in the original cut of Empire Strikes Back, you didn't see the Wampa monster. And the reason being is just production being what it is. There's only so much money you have in the budget. And while they had a puppet for it, it didn't quite look the way George wanted it to look. And so they ended up scrapping it. And so you never actually see the monster. I think it was the way the original puppet was. It was, I think they used it for both to show Luke when, he gets hurt off in the Tauntaun, and then when he's trying to escape, they have this little hand puppet. One hand goes through the actual, I guess, glove is what it was, and then they had like a little head attached to that. So they kind of had that going towards the camera, and then Luke's, swings his lightsaber and cuts the monster's arm off so he can escape. But when they went back and did the special edition, that's when they actually added it in the monster as a full body suit. And there's a debate on whether or not putting in the monster was a good call or not. And I can see both arguments, because it is non-common for movies, especially, more horror movies, that you never actually see the monster, until the very end of the movie, or, at least halfway through. Alien, you don't see, in Ridley Scott's Alien, you don't see the actual alien monster until I think it's like 30 minutes in. And even then it's kind of hidden and lit so you can't see the whole thing. It's to play on the fear of the unknown. And so a lot of people said that adding the monster wasn't the right call. That just having it always roaring in the background is, gives that feeling of danger and triumph as Luke escapes. And while that may be true, I think never showing the monster at all, that means you never really get much of a payout on that setup.
When you finally see the fully grown xenomorph in Alien, it's not until I want to say 45 minutes in.
Yeah,
the payoff is great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny if you look at set shots, and again, I mean, you learn exactly how much talent goes into making these films, that it's not just, hey, let's just set up a camera pointed at something and do things. If you look at the set shots when they were filming Alien, I mean, it's just a guy in a rubber suit. I mean, that's all it is. And it looks kind of cheesy. But you light your shot the right way, you pace your film out the right way, you only show little bits and whatnot. All of a sudden, you go from this goofy-looking rubber suit into something that's terrifying.
It's definitely all about the lighting in that movie.
Oh, absolutely. No, not that one. Well, since we're talking about classic sci-fi films, I got a question for you both. Alien and Aliens, James Cameron's film. Which do you prefer? Now, everybody generally understands, that both movies are really great, and they are, and they both play to the strengths of their respective directors. But it seems like always everybody you like them both, but you prefer one or the other. And that's why I propose to you two. Which would you guys prefer? Do you prefer Alien or Aliens?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that is.
Because, like, Ripley is one of my favorite movie characters.
Oh, Ripley's awesome.
And Alien is, like, my current favorite all-time movie. But
Classic cinema horror.
I love Aliens because I love to get to see Ripley's, like, character development.
Mm-hmm. I prefer Aliens. I like Alien. I like it. It's a great horror movie. Again, it redefined a genre and whatnot. But, I mean, there's just something about Bill Paxton and I'm trying to blank on his name. I always do this. The guy who played Hicks.
Yeah, I always blank on his name, too.
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. Thank you. There's something about their performances that are just awesome. Speaking of, can anybody tell me what actor has been killed by all three of the new, well, I guess new is relative, but the what I call modern movie monsters. You have your classic movie monsters, your Draculas and mummies and whatnot. But modern movie monsters, what actor has played a character that has been killed by a Terminator, Predator, and an Alien? Big three. I'll let you folks at home think about it. Don't Google it. So I'll play fair here, everybody. Can anybody tell me?
Samuel L. Jackson.
No.
No.
No, but I bet that'd be an entertaining film to watch, that's for sure.
I mean, he died from Jurassic Park, and he was killed by some.
Well, that was Jurassic Park. I'm talking an actor who's played a character that's been killed by a Predator, an Alien, and a Terminator.
I couldn't tell you.
God, I wish that were me.
Bill Paxton. He was in the original Terminator. He was the one of the punks that gets killed by Arnold. And then he was in, as we know, Aliens. He was Hudson. Has a big send-off at the end there when he's blasting away. And then in Predator 2, he plays a cop who he gets killed by the Predator inside the subway. Not the store, the actual subway train.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
Nice night for a walk. Nothing clean, right? This guy's a couple beers short of a six-pack. Yep. He holds I think he's the only actor. The modern, again, relative, modern movie monsters, famous movie monsters, he is the only actor, at least the one I'm aware anyway, that has been killed by all three.
To answer your earlier question, I think I'm still sticking with Alien. Mostly because
That's
of the last,
respectable.
like, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
Just, like, the
classic.
mad dash that Ripley has to do. Trying to get to the shuttle.
Yeah, she's getting ready to blow the ship up.
Great.
But even before that, when she's getting the shuttle ready, and the last two crew members are grabbing coolant, and then they get killed by the xenomorph.
Well, here's a fun
She's
bit of
just, like,
information.
hearing it.
Here's a fun bit of information for everybody out there. In all films, there's deleted scenes and deleted plot points. Even the greatest, like we said with Star Wars, some things just get deleted that are necessary for a number of reasons. Does anybody know what the xenomorph was actually doing with all the people that it was taking in the original film? It was a cut scene.
Yeah.
Later, it's essentially killing them off one at a time, But the original idea, deleted scene, we have a lot of people, I think, credit the sequel, Aliens, with, the alien that's, cocooning people and whatnot in a hive. And while that is true, it actually, as a concept, started out in the original Alien. The deleted scene, as Ellen is running to prep the escape pod to leave, she comes across the alien's nest, and it is cocooning people against a wall. And what is essentially shown is that the people, it hasn't killed everybody. Instead, what it's doing is cocooning them, and then they're slowly turning into the eggs. There was no queen originally. We know that was introduced in the sequel. But the idea of it cocooning people and putting an egg in front of them started in the original movie as a cut scene. But instead of a queen laying an egg, the people were actually turning into the eggs themselves. I think they were trying to add a little more body horror into the film. But I can see why it was cut out. I think the idea was they wanted to leave the creature a little bit more mysterious. Did I do that wrong? I think I did that wrong. Yes, I did. 'Cause you are supposed to go there. Oh wait, no. Because that's just the wrong piece in general.
How's it going over there?
You. It's going fantastic. Audrey, how are you doing? There we go. I always liked the Star Wars Special Edition films, and while that might be You could probably, someone might say, well, yeah, you were a kid when they came out. That's your Star Wars. I prefer the original films, the unedited stuff, but I feel like the stuff George Lucas added in the special edition, while of course CGI will always date itself as technology develops, I actually kind of preferred them. I like the shots because at least for those, and now I'm an old man, and I'm like, I don't like all the extra stuff he's been adding in the DVDs and Blu-rays and blah, blah, blah. But for me, back then, the shots that George added with, we'll stick to Empire Strikes Back, the shots George added with The Empire Strikes Back made a lot of sense, I felt. They take Sky City as an example, where Lando Calrissian is. It made a lot of sense because in the original film, you never really get much of a shot of the whole, city in the clouds, the facility. You just kind of see the big overall shot. And Millennium Falcon flying up.
See,
and then we just
only
cut
ever
to it
seen
landing.
the special editions.
Yeah, we actually see it fly up to the landing point. And then the later shots when they're walking around and they're running around because, spoiler alert, the Empire got there before them. He added vistas. And to me, that made sense. Part of Star Wars, and again, special effects should never make up your primary point to the movie. It should always be just an added, it's icing on the cake, but it's still icing, is beautiful science fiction worlds. And so this city in the clouds that they constructed, it always seemed kind of weird that you have this setup and then you're just walking around hallways the whole time. And yes, you go back and watch the special editions, it's the effects are clearly, dated. It's early CGI. I mean, we're talking 90s CGI, late 90s, but still 90s CGI nonetheless. So it's going to instantly date itself. But it does a good job just showing off the place throughout, these beautiful vistas, and I thought it made a ton of sense to put stuff like that in. Most of the time because they were working around the actors, they weren't adding new interactions and whatnot, aka see the new shots that they added of the Emperor when Vader goes to talk to the Emperor for the first time when they're at the asteroid field. We got our first glimpse of the Emperor when they, reshotted that. Seemed kind of goofy. But everything else, just filming around the characters, filming around the action, and just to add a little more depth to the world made sense to me. Now, having said that, the first thing someone could say is, well, in the New Hope special edition, they added that scene with Jabba the Hutt. That kind of seemed a little too much. And I might agree, but I actually still like that scene too.
Yeah, he did be looking goofy.
Yeah, well, when they have him walking on the tail, and I guess some of the lines don't make sense when Han calls Jabba a wonderful human being. Like, what? And that, whoop, dropped a piece. And that was because originally Jabba the Hutt was, George had an idea of it being more of like a hairy character like Chewie. And it was an actor just wearing a big fur, I mean, lack of a better term, a big fur coat. And I'm sure you can go onto the computers and go to Google and find the original scene with the original actor. But, you know, that scene, take it or leave it. You can put it in there, don't put it in there. Doesn't really bother me much. Alright, so we have now finished the base for our probe droid. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will put together the actual complete kit, and then we'll show you what it looks like all put together. Alright, and we're back, and we're going to go ahead and get started on the actual body of the Imperial probe droid. Oh, it's 2 pieces. Right? Where's it back? Oh, no. Here we go. It's always a hunt for like one piece you can never seem to find. Doesn't matter what the set is. You think after doing this as a kid, you'd be good at it by now.
Well, you're in all the dark pieces now.
Well, yeah, because it's the dark pieces because it's the body, but then it wants a white circular flat piece. It's always a piece that gets lost. There's probably only like one of them in the entire set, too. Oh, I thought it was gray. It's white. There's probably some of you sitting at home right now just shouting, "It's right there! You looked at it twice! What's wrong with you?" Thank you for not turning off after dealing with that, because I would have. I don't remember if I brought this up or not. I know we talked about it a little bit. In The Empire Strikes Back, that's the first time you see the Emperor. And of course they released the special editions and the DVD editions and the Blu-ray editions, so it's kind of changed this fact, but do you guys know what they did for the Emperor originally? I think we talked a little bit about what Jabba the Hutt was originally going to be when they reused that cut scene from A New Hope. That Jabba the Hutt was going to be a furry character. Do you guys know what the Emperor originally looked like?
No.
They hadn't casted... who plays the Emperor? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Well, they hadn't casted the original actor to play the Emperor yet. So what they did is they... used, I believe it was a female actress, and they put like superimposed or whatever chimpanzee eyes on them. I guess the idea was they wanted the Emperor to look otherworldly or something like that. Pretty weird looking too. You can go on YouTube and find it. then, famously, I think we brought it up before, you know, Star Wars trying to find the right director is not a new thing, you know. Obviously, we remember the recent problems that Disney went through when they were doing their, we'll just call it, unique sequel trilogy. But this is actually not a new thing. When they were doing Return of the Jedi, see, George had already gotten a different director for Empire Strikes Back, who also wrote it. But for Return of the Jedi, he was looking for a new director again. And I brought this up earlier. But he was famously went and, out of a couple of different directors he talked to David Lynch. If anybody out there knows who David Lynch is, or if you don't, he's probably most famous for doing the show Twin Peaks. But he also did the original 1984 Dune. If anybody's seen that, they know that is a trippy movie, which is pretty common for David Lynch, actually. He's an interesting auteur. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because he got, there's a famous meeting, and you can look this up on YouTube, he talks about it, where he had a meeting with George about directing Return of the Jedi. And in his famous Lynchian tone, he was talking to me about Wookiees and Ewoks, and I don't know. So eventually he did the launch, and he said no, he wouldn't do Return of the Jedi. Which, you know, at the time, he was still known as kind of doing unique films. You know, definitely something different. It would have been a different tone for Return of the Jedi. But then, strangely enough, he then went on, because Return of the Jedi came out in '83. He went on to do Dune in '84. And Dune, the book, is, I mean, it's a space adventure. I mean, it's definitely, you know, it's a space adventure book. Definitely a little more complicated than Star Wars, but, you know. He went on to do that, which was supposed to be a big blockbuster, you know, summer film. But then after Dune is when he decided he was going to do his own films. And TV shows and whatnot. And honestly, you know what? Good for him. Because that's definitely where he shines. Boy, that would have been a trip, though, to see. You almost want to see just a different reality in where David Lynch did Return of the Jedi. That would be a very interesting way to end the franchise for sure. Or George Lucas probably would have fired him halfway through and gone a different route. Oh, that's one of... Oh, because it... Ooh, boy, if you're watching at home, this has got to be frustrating.
Well, it's been about 9 years since I built a Legos. So when it's my turn, you'll probably be doing the same thing.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, it's you get caught up between looking for certain pieces, and then you forget what you saw in the booklet. You always want to have separate bins for the bags that they come in, so it helps keep things organized. So you're going between different bins, you're looking up and down.
Dump them out, Andrew.
No, I'm going to dump them out. I'm an adult. And as an adult, I build Legos with bins. Dang it. Actually, that's a good segue. It is kind of interesting, you know, maybe stigma is a strong word, but I'll use it. You know, for a while, if you were a nerd, as they call it, you know, you'd still have your, you know, you might still build a Lego set for your office or something like that, just to put up on display. And was generally, and maybe I'm just projecting too, but you know, it was kind of that was the thing that, you know, that's just what nerds do, or, you know, whatever. But nowadays, and it's gone for the better, just for the record, it's better this way. But now it's just kind of a thing that adults now, it's generally just finally understood as, yeah, it's still fun to build something. You know, you're an adult and you're not playing with toys anymore, but, you know, have something that you can just relate to from your childhood, or something you enjoy even now to this day, film-wise or whatnot, that you can build and, like I said, put up in an office or something, display piece. And it's interesting to see the market adjust now, because they have these black box sets, and boy, man, Lego's always been expensive. I'm sure just about anybody watching can remember that, but they definitely for sure saw a growing market, because they are not cheap. So it's just kind of interesting to see a growing change.
I think a Rivendell set just came out from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, the Lord of the Rings sets look really cool.
I think it's around like 3,000 pieces. I think it's like $800.
Yeah, slightly expensive, and that would be a multi-part episode to get that done. Am I doing this backwards? Let me see.
But there is definitely an audience for it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've said it before. You know, I gotta dig it up to find it, but yeah, I am doing it backwards. But my favorite battle in the Lord of the Rings series is Helm's Deep, and there is a Helm's Deep Lego set that I'd like to build. That's another good segue, actually. The reason I enjoy Helm's Deep, aside from the story-wise and characters and whatnot, which is always a key point in any film or TV show, you know, first and foremost, you want to care about your characters, because that makes for whatever dramatic event that's happening, makes it more interesting. But there's a lot of practical effects with that battle. Now, there's a fair share of CGI as well. If you've seen those movies, you know, and you're a fan of them, you know, it's very well aware that the entire side of the wall at the Urukai blast up, I mean, that's all CGI and sets and whatnot. But the other section, the actual castle keep, that's a real set. No CGI there. That is, you know, 100%. It's all there. It's all physical. And it makes that just more fun, at least in my opinion anyway. That's all any of this is my opinion. But you know, it just kind of makes it more fun to watch, because it's just more tangible. You know, it's always easy to CGI something, and it makes sense. You know, building sets can take a lot of time. But at least I'm of the opinion that physical sets, physically building props and doing as much as you can practically is better. I think it sells the illusion more. It makes it more tangible. I know a lot of people enjoy the last battle in Return of the King, Battle of Pelennor Fields. It's a big battle. But that's cool. You know, to each their own. But I never really was a huge fan of it, and it's just because it was a giant, just a giant CGI mess, at least in my opinion. And again, you know, it's still, you know, Peter Jackson did a good job. It's still, you know, a good story. It's still, you know, you're rooting for your characters. At this point, we've really grown with these characters, so it's not like it ruins the film or anything along those lines. But now, obviously, you might, you know, when you have characters that are giant elephants, yeah, probably a little difficult to build that practically. You know, you got to probably CGI that. Though they did have one practical one that was kind of the dead carcass of one of them. That was an actual practical part. The whole lot of the rest of it was really CGI. And, I don't know, just kind of took me out of it a little bit.
No, Helm's Deep is where it at.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, it's something you can sink your teeth into. It's you know, the whole point of film was a little escapism, you know, but you really want to sell the whole world. Just, you know, it's a little time that you can just kind of take a break from the real world and get lost in a story, and you know, the more practical effects, the human eye can detect fakeness very well. We've evolved to have that skill set because it helps us survive. But it manifests itself in what they call the uncanny valley. As going back to Star Wars, as I'm sure if you're a fan of Star Wars and been following, it is a little weird to see, you know, a CGI Mark Hamill or a Carrie Fisher, or even for Rogue One, Peter Cushing, up and moving around, but you can tell that it's clearly CGI. And that's kind of the benefit of going with practical, is because you don't get that jarring feeling when you have some type of major practical piece that just grounds you in the universe, or grounds you in the scene, rather. It's not as jarring, keeps you engaged. Now, obviously, that's not 100%. Like I said, a lot of it is more important with your characters and your story. I mean, if you don't have that, it doesn't matter if it's practical or not. But it helps. Helps keep the viewer grounded. I think that's... You know, I think that a good example... Because, again, like I said, you know, this... You want to go, at least in my opinion, you want to go as practical as possible, but the key word is as possible. Like I said, you know, the Battle of Pelennor Fields, I think, you know, you definitely, instead of CGI in a lot of those, the wider shots of the orcs, you probably could have, well, I don't know, just had a bunch of... It's not uncommon for films to have just a bunch of extras all choreographed into a big scene. You know, there's a famous film about Waterloo where they got... Oh, I forget now which army it was. It was either Russian soldiers or something along those lines, where they got... When it does these large sweeping shots of the Battle of Waterloo, those are real people. Now, you know, the movie came out in, I want to say, the 70s or something like that. But it's a really good film. But these sweeping shots that they use of these large extras that are representing these famous armies from this famous battle, they're all there. You know, so I think you could do something like that. But then, like I said, obviously the Oliphants and in that battle, you can't you can't have a large lumbering effect and have it be believable. So you CGI that, of course. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that held back The Hobbit. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why they did CGI in that movie. But everything was so much CGI that it just wasn't... kind of took you out of it a little bit.
Plus, it did not need to be 3 movies long.
Well, no, yeah. And hey, you know what? That's also goes to what I was saying. I mean, you'd have overly critical jerks like me, or just like, oh, I don't want all the CGI. But if it was a well scripted story, I mean, who cares? Honestly, in the long term, who really cares? But because it didn't even have that, or that all too well, anyway. It definitely didn't help either. And as I said before, and I'll keep saying, this is all my opinion. If you like the prequels or the sequels, or if you like The Hobbit, or even if if you're sitting there saying, hey man, I like the Battle of Pelennor Fields, I thought that was a great scene, I think that's cool. There's nothing I'm saying that's gospel here. It's all my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, cool. Like what you like. Enjoy it.
I'll admit I'm biased because I was working at a movie theater when the Hobbit movies came out. I did like the music though.
Oh, well, sure. And I'll even say that. If you sit down and talk to me for extensively, and we want to talk Star Wars and prequels, I'll complain as the petulant man-child that I am about those films till the cows come home. But I will say this: John Williams nailed the music.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the Hobbit prequels.
Now, who did the music for... Was it the same guy who did that did Lord of the Rings, or did they go with a different composer? Jim's on the hunt. He'll figure it out, everybody. Just keep yelling at your screens.
Howard Shore.
Howard Shore, that's his name. So he did do The Hobbit?
Yep.
Okay, and then he also did Lord of the Rings.
Let me look.
I think it is. I think he did both.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, they're good music for sure. Well, if we're talking about composers and film, the composer who did the music for Back to the Future, what was his name? Alan Silvestri? Can someone look that up real quick? It's the composer for Back to the Future.
It was Alan.
Alan Silvestri, okay. He, before...
Well, actually, there's 2 more. There's Johnny Colella and then Chris Hayes.
Okay.
So there's 3 total.
There's 3 total. But Alan was the big dog.
The main one.
He did, before he did Back to the Future, and literally right before Back to the Future, he did a little-known franchise called The Predator. He did the first Predator. And that music is awesome as well. But it's kind of fun when you know that, you go back and listen to it because you can hear the beats of what would become Back to the Future in Predator. And I think the best example of that, pick a scene in Predator when they're boy, is this general. Pick a scene where they're walking through the jungle in Predator. If you pick this one of the scenes, I think it's after they raid the camp and things are starting to ramp up a little bit. They're walking through, you have that beat of the drum going, right? Now take that music, put it, you pause this and go pull that up on your phone. Take that music now. Now pull up the scene where Doc Brown is getting ready to get into his DeLorean at the beginning of Back to the Future. And the Libyans are about to show up. And the beat is very similar to that in Predator. Very, very similar. And they both work. They're both awesome. But it's kind of fun. You can see... And you can do that with a lot of composers, too. You can actually hear it as well with John Williams between... I want to say, if I remember right, the music as Han Solo, linking back to Empire Strikes Back. See, this is why we get the big bucks, folks. We know how to transition. The scene where Han Solo is about to fly into the asteroid field, and then the scene in Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana is about to... he's about to go through when Marion is taken by I guess they end up being Nazi sympathizers, and he's got to go through, they're in Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, and he's got to start knocking down all the different laundry baskets because Marion was put in one, if you've seen that film. And the music is very similar between those two as well. Again, which is just interesting. Because the music's awesome. Very, very talented composers. Another talented composer is the composer for the Aliens movie, the second one, directed by James Cameron. What was his name? James Horner? Is that what it was? Jimmy, look that up real quick. Something Horner. James Horner, okay. Kind of famously, a song that has been used not only in that film, but just in like commercials in general for any different type of products when you want like energy in your shot, is what's called Bishop's Countdown. And that is the music that played as, spoiler alert, as Bishop, Ripley, Newt, and an injured Hicks are leaving the LE-426 right before the facility detonates in a nuclear explosion. And they play it again when Ellen is about to kill the alien queen and blast her out into space. Really famous song, really cool, really gets the energy going. I mean, it's kind of like the James Bond theme. It is just perfect. And actually, kind of like the James Bond theme, it was done last minute. And apparently the story is, anyway, from what I've heard, is that James Cameron, let's just say, can sometimes be challenging to work with. He's a little demanding, and was being pretty demanding about the music that he wanted for that scene, and just would not. James was just having an issue, and then eventually he's just like, fine, here's this, blah. It ended up being great. So I guess it kind of matches with the art through adversity concept. But it was also the film that James Horner was like, I will not work with James Cameron ever again. As it happens in Hollywood. Am I missing a piece? I feel like I'm missing a piece. So there's only 2 of these. Uh-oh. Somewhere where I shouldn't have? If you remember building with Lego, folks, or if you're still doing it to today, I'm sure we can all relate to this moment right here. You're like, what happened? This is interesting. Uh-oh. Well, I used 4 of these for around here on the base at the beginning. Now the longer ones I used here. Well, these are all the right ones. I don't think I grabbed. No, there's no short ones. Oh, and then it wants me to use another one. Did I miss a bag? Were we supposed to open another bag? No, it's still on 2. Oh boy. All right, Audrey, we're gonna dump it out. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, folks, it looks like this is going to be a short video. You know, let's check. We're just going to leave the shot right here. I'm going to go check to see if maybe I didn't pour it all out of a bag. Oh, bag's empty. Well, let's see. 6, 3, 5, 4. I don't have. No, that's just a little bubbles. You don't want to pull from a different bag, because then you're pulling from another part of the build. Huh. Well, I was going to say we could just, since this one piece is just used as a decorative part, I wouldn't be too worried about it. We'll use another piece here. Where does this go? Oh, wait a minute. It goes on that side here. Oh, did I read this wrong? I probably read it wrong. It's probably... Yeah. Sorry, folks. I thought this too meant you had to make this twice. Cool. Well, either we'll cut that part out or we'll leave it in so everyone can just share in the frustration and laugh at me.
Authenticity.
Okay, now it's definitely staying in because I really want then to, that entire sequence. I want it to end with you failing to say authenticity.
Authenticity.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks for that save, Audrey.
What?
Thanks for that save.
I don't know how Dave and Alan do it.
Years of practice.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm definitely starting off with like a smaller set.
Well, depending on how this goes, depending how our awesome viewers out there feel, if you guys want us to see us do a specific set or a bigger set or something along those lines, you can let us know through email at info@mybatv.com. If you put this video up on YouTube, you can let us know down in the comments. And if you would like to donate to help fund new sets to build, you don't have to. But if you feel so inclined, you can go to our website, mybatv.com, and click the donate button. And I think you can put a little note in there too. So you can donate and say, hey, I want you guys to build this set. And you better do it. Don't make me come down there. And we'll be like, okay, you got it, man. A little extreme, but we'll do it. Aha, see? Okay, see? There, it says 4 times. So we have to do this 4 times. See, folks? That's why it helps to pay attention. Looks like all my teachers were right all along. Do this one 4 times in the other direction.
Okay, Jim. New Hope, Empire, or Return of the Jedi?
That is a great question. I'm gonna go with Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Good choice.
I'm gonna have to go with that.
I mean, like, there's no wrong answers, but that is a great answer.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's I think, like I said in the first segment, you know, it arguably, depending on your opinion, Star Wars wouldn't be what it was, or what it is rather, if it wasn't for The Empire Strikes Back.
Now, if you ask me personally, what's my favorite Star Wars? It's gonna be a hot take. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are not gonna like it, especially some in this office.
Oh,
But-
someone in particular?
Not to name names, but
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom of the Menace.
You're fired. Get out.
There it is. Look, I was like 7 maybe 6 when
Hey,
that
I was
came
in
out.
5th grade when that movie came out.
Like, yeah.
Well, as I said, like what you like. Anything I say is just opinion. If that's what you like, Jim, if you want to be wrong, hey, man, you be wrong. You be as wrong as you want to be. Don't let people like me change your mind.
Oh, believe me, you won't.
Yeah, I was in 5th grade with The Empire Strikes Back. Whew, ain't that old, folks. I was in 5th grade when The Phantom Menace came out. And even back then I didn't really like it all that much. I couldn't articulate it like the petulant man-child that I am now could articulate why I don't like it. No, I wasn't even a fan of it back then. Of course, can't deny Darth Maul is a cool character.
Come on, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Obi-Wan in those series.
Come on, Ewan McGregor.
Well, don't get me wrong, Ian McGregor did a fantastic job. Look, any complaints that I have with the Star Wars prequels have nothing to do with the actors. They did a phenomenal job. There is no denying that. And stop picking on Hayden Christensen, everybody. He did the best he could. You take a scene where someone comes up and says, I need you to talk about why you don't like sand. I doubt there's anybody listening right now who could be like, oh yeah, I could nail that line. Of course, and it gets everywhere. I mean, he did the best he could. He's not a bad actor.
Like what you like, Audrey.
Yeah, what's your favorite, Audrey?
Of what, of the original trilogy?
Or all
of them.
Anything.
Anything out of all of them. What's your favorite?
Audrey told me that she likes The Last Jedi.
You're both fired. Get out.
No, it would be A New Hope.
That's respectable. A New Hope. It's a classic film.
It's
It's
what started it all.
Well, sure. I mean, it is your quintessential fantasy story. It hits all the beats perfectly. I mean, it's straight up. The whole thing is your I'd say a blueprint for any successful hero's journey story. It's a good choice. For me, I think I would take Empire as my favorite. So I think it would go Empire, A New Hope, Jedi, and then it doesn't really matter after that.
Yeah, there's no love for Return of the Jedi.
Well, again, like I said at your first segment, if you're someone out there who doesn't like the Star Wars prequels, you can start to see where it was going with Return of the Jedi. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, Return of the Jedi is still a good film. A lot of great famous battle scenes. The 3 stories all coming together at the end is awesome. It's good. But a lot of the shots are reverse shot, which is one of the reasons why people don't like the Star Wars prequels, is because it's kind of boring to watch. And that's one of the reasons why. It's just shot, reverse shot. Someone's in a room. Someone gets up. They walk over to the other side of the room. Shot, reverse shot. And they're just talking back and forth. Now, you could argue, yes, Andrew, but we're at Return of the Jedi. The story's been pretty much told. We finished Han Solo. It was the only lingering story we had left. Let's wrap this up. And that's a good point. It's a good point. But he just kept doing that with the prequels. Shot, reverse shot. Someone in a room, they get up, they walk over, shot, reverse shot. And I think probably the other reason, and this is actually grown to be a controversial take, and I understand both points. So before I say what I'm going to say, I understand both points, and I don't think anybody's wrong in any way you want to take it. But a lot of people don't really like the Ewoks, and it is kind of...
Always comes down to the Ewoks.
Well, it does. Look, we'll take the no, it's a bunch of teddy bears running around. Let's just take that out of it, okay? It is a little weird when you have these little... Like, you just spent Empire Strikes Back, a great film reestablishing the Empire as a force to be reckoned with. These people do not mess around. These are the bad guys, and you should be worried about them. And then we get to Return of the Jedi, and it's, oh no, they got defeated by a bunch of teddy bears. Oh, okay. It is kind of a gut punch to, you know, their danger. The danger our characters are necessarily in. Though it still does that a little bit. You do worry about Luke. You are worried about the Emperor because he is pure evil, for sure. But, so it kind of neuters the Empire a little bit with that. And then one more thing I'll say, and then we're going to take a break, folks, while we get ready for Bag 3 to work on the other half of the body here. Originally, the idea, and George brought this back for Revenge of the Sith, the Ewoks weren't actually going to be Ewoks at first. They were going to be Wookiees. Which, if you think of Return of the Jedi in your mind, replace the Ewoks with Wookiees, everything makes sense. Because we established in the first movie, what Han Solo say, don't have it's not wise to upset a Wookiee. And C-3PO goes, well, no one worries they upset a droid, and Han Solo goes, well, that's because a droid won't pull a man's arms out of his socket if they lose. Wookiees are known for doing that. So we established these Wookiees as strong creatures. So if you have the Empire facing off against the Rebels, who are now supported by these huge, strong beasts, now all of a sudden it makes sense when they're literally pulling down stormtroopers and beating them with rocks and sticks, because if you put what is established as the strength of a Wookiee, yeah, it probably doesn't matter what armor you're wearing, because this thing is a strong beast, So it makes total sense. And there's I've heard different reasons why George changed it to these little Ewok characters. Some people take the cynical route and say that he did it because it was cheaper to take the fur that he was going to use for that and make smaller suits versus bigger suits. I've heard some people say that he just wanted to make kind of cute characters because that would people would like that more, is kind of the idea. So I've heard a range of it. So I personally, I don't know why he changed it. All I can say is it would have been a lot cooler if they were Wookiees, for sure. But, okay, we are now on to Bag 3 to continue working on the base here. So we're just going to take a quick break, get everything prepped and set for that, and then we will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are now on to the top layer portion of the body. So we're going to continue on with that. See, I love these. I can't mess this one up. Oh, who am I kidding? I could totally find a way to mess this up. Right? Am I doing that right? Yes. No. Did that wrong. Well, that didn't take long, huh? Just a mess, everyone.
You jinxed yourself.
Yeah, I know, right? I had like a whole thing going. I was so proud of myself. I want to say, and someone can eventually fact check me on this, but I want to say there was a point where George Lucas wanted Steven Spielberg to direct Return of the Jedi. As George and Steven are friends, they work together in the Indiana Jones films. What year did the first Indiana Jones, what year did Raiders come out?
Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981.
81, okay. When did Empire come out?
80.
80, okay. Dang, so Harrison was literally bouncing back and forth. That must be a crazy career if you think about it, huh? Part of the two biggest film franchises in history. Back to back. This must be out of the head swivels. Oh, I skipped a step. Whoops. Well, I suppose if you get one thing out of this show, you can definitely watch it and get infuriated watching me put this together. It's a good way to relieve some tension. Favorite Lego set that you built as a kid? Everybody go.
Okay, I built a TIE fighter I got for like, I don't know, my 10th birthday.
Ooh. That is perfectly on point with what we're building right here. All right, TIE fighter. Jim?
I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was Star Wars related, actually. It was I think it was Anakin Skywalker's drone,
His drone.
or what he used to race in the first race.
Oh, his pod racer. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I was drawing a blank. I knew it wasn't the drone.
Yeah, I had I actually had that toy when I was a kid. I had Anakin's pod racer, and then I had Sebulba. You know the one? Oh, the sticker port. Oh boy, got lucky when I did the base one here with that sticker. That went on perfectly the first try. If you were watching, you're like, wow, that's impressive. Yeah, you're probably going to learn real quick that I probably can't do that again. We got lucky.
Yeah, I did not build my TIE fighter like perfectly. Like I messed up on one of the sections or something, and I remember it kept like falling apart.
Oof.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated.
Yeah, I can see why, yeah. That would be frustrating. My favorite, I think I've told you guys this story before, but now I'll share it with the few people watching at home. Growing up when I was a kid, I had to have been, well, let's see here, probably about 10 years old, maybe 11. I put my brother around 5 or 6. Christmas Day, I got this Lego set, and some of you guys out there might remember this. It was all over the commercials for a while. Legos had, they still do to this day, they have themes that they always have. And back at this time, they had a theme around like their own take on like space aliens. And so you could get, like their space aliens had like these big black masks that they'd wear and these bodysuit type stuff. It was really, really cool. And you get like these smaller sets, but the big set, the big one, was the one I wanted. It was the mothership. And the mothership was cool because it had a big base, right? And it had a couple of cockpit points and pieces that came off from that. I think some could hang underneath it. But then the middle section could come out as a small UFO ship. And it had a little magnetic clip-on connector that could pick up stuff. And I wanted that one so bad. And I got it for Christmas. And we finished up opening gifts. I got so excited, ran upstairs to my room, and I spent the entire Christmas morning and half the afternoon putting it all together. Now my brother, he got a couple of gifts, but one of the big gifts he got was this big teddy bear. And when I mean big, I mean that thing was probably a little bit bigger than I was when I was 10 years old. So this was a giant, almost life-size teddy bear. And he got for Christmas. So let's fast forward. Let's say, I don't know, 4 hours or something like that. 4 or 5 hours. I have the whole set put together. And I bring it downstairs to show off to everybody. And I set it down on an end table in the family room. And my brother, he's enjoying his brand new teddy bear. And you might be asking, well, how is he enjoying that big teddy bear? Well, the way he's enjoying it is he's taking it and he is just, like if you were in the middle of a field and you had your favorite person in front of you and you were just spinning in circles.
Oh.
And he's having a blast. So I come downstairs, I set my newly pristine built space alien Lego ship all together, the big set that every kid wanted back then. And 4 hours of work was dashed to pieces in 4 seconds when he let go of that bear and just poof. Never to be put back together again.
Oh my.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, my brother. But after getting over the frustration and chasing my kid brother around the house yelling at him, I use those pieces for other stuff that I'd use my imagination on. But who knows? Maybe someday. I've done some looking online. I think I might have found one, of course, on eBay. And of course, they're going to charge an arm and a leg because it's a discontinued piece from back in the early or late 90s. But who knows? Maybe someday I'll find it. Maybe for you fine folks at home, I'll bring it in, build it from the ground up. And then to complete the experience, Jim can just smash it to pieces.
Say less.
What'd you say?
Say less.
Say less? They had a weird set that came out after that. My brother got this one. And again, some of you out there might remember this. They had this weird set. They had like this fascination with underground mining. You could build like this deep underground base, and they had like rock monsters that would, the arm would move to throw rocks. It was weird. Kind of cool though. My brother got those. I think he got the big set of that one. This was probably a year or so later. Some of these pictures, it's kind of tough to see exactly where these smaller pieces go. I think that's right. Maybe not. It's supposed to go like this. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. Why not? It's not like I've ever had to double back before and fix something. This one. It's like a little skate.
least you have directional arrows. When I worked in the movie theater, we had to put together like the giant cardboard like standees.
Oh
It
yeah.
would just be pictures for the instructions.
Here's what it looks like when it's completed. Gee, thanks. So how do I get to that point? Yeah.
It'd be a good way to spend an afternoon away from the concession stand or the ticket box, but you'd want to tear your hair out by the end of it.
Yeah, that'd probably drive me a little nuts. Did you ever keep any of the stands? Or did you throw them out?
No, I didn't really. There weren't really any good ones during
Yeah.
the time that I worked there, from like 2014 to 2015.
2014, 2015. The movies came out then. Anything good?
The Hobbit movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we talked about that.
Star Wars sequels. The first Jurassic World. Couple of the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, those were okay.
Sprinkle in some of the Avengers movies.
Yeah, a bunch
Oh
of
yeah, the
Avengers
Avengers. Oh yeah.
Best thing I got was a oversized Nightcrawler poster.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. And then I got Interstellar and Gone Girl.
Those are both good movies too.
But people did take the cutouts.
Yeah, if you found one you like, I mean, they probably just end up getting tossed in the garbage when the film's
Yep.
done, right? Might as well. And then that goes in there. Okay, yep. So we take the base. There you go. We're about halfway there, folks. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break. I'm going to go ahead and prep everything for the next bag, and it looks like we're going to get started on the legs. So, stay tuned. Alright, and we're back to now start working on the legs. I think this is where things are going to bog down a little bit. Doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of pieces, but there are a lot of small pieces. It's kind of how it goes when you build with Legos. They put some of the more exciting parts up front. They're bigger, whatnot, but sooner or later, you got to do the small parts. So we have to start putting the legs together for this bag, and then bag 5 as well, I think, is also about the legs. But here's the progress we've made so far. So we have our base and we have our body frame. And now we start working on the legs. So let's get started on that little bit right there. Oh, it is this piece. Okay. So the picture made it look like it was centered.
I was gonna say, from like where I'm sitting, looking at the camera feed, they all look the same.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the smaller pieces, or at least pay attention. Like I said, my grade school teachers had it right. You got to pay attention because, you get the little pieces like this. This is where it's easy to slip up, and little pieces are difficult to pull apart if you don't do it right. Don't drop the pieces. back to our conversation about CGI. I think the best use of CGI still stands the test of time is the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Namely the Tyrannosaurus scene. Because it's the perfect way to do it, right? So when they had the big Tyrannosaurus for that, and I actually have a Tyrannosaurus Rex, that entire scene where the T-Rex breaks out of its paddock, which is the scene I'm referring to. I do have a Lego set of that actual scene that I have not put together yet, so maybe I'll bring that in for my next video, and we can do that one. Of course, that one's like 1,000 pieces, so settle in, folks. That'll be a long one, but it was a perfect blend of CGI and practical. Now, of course, you have your primary set, which is real, right? The fence is there, the cars are there, it's on a dirt road. Or at least that part actually was done. They actually had two sets. So they had a set that was built on Hawaii, right? But then the set where they actually have the car get flipped and the Tyrannosaurus break out, that was actually done in a studio. I forget where exactly. So they kind of rebuilt that set, but in studio so they could control the water to simulate the rain and whatnot. Anyway, great example as to how to blend CGI with practical effects, because they have the giant T-Rex puppet, and they blended that well with the movement, because you had that big thing, and you know, especially for 1990s, early 90s tech, you know, you're not necessarily going to take that big thing and also make it move. I mean, it's just going to look a mess. So really, the puppet could only lift its head up and down. They can move the mouth. The eye is a really good effect. I really like that effect when it's looking into the car, and they can control the iris of the eye. It really sells it really well. But when you notice, and I think the best example of this is when the T-Rex first breaks out, and why am I forgetting the name of Timmy's sister?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm totally blank on that,
Totally
too.
blanking on her name right now all of a sudden. Oof. Anyway, if you remember from that scene, she gets in a panic, she gets the big heavy-duty flashlight, and the beam attracts the T-Rex. And you remember what's happening in that scene after she gets it and starts shining the beam, and we cut to Dr. Alan Grant's example, or excuse me, Dr. Alan Grant's viewpoint of that.
Her name is Lex.
Lex, thank you, that's it. When Lex is flashing the flashlight and it gets the T-Rex attention, the practical effect is on the left. The head is kind of bumping the front of the car on Dr. Alan Grant's side, and the camera pans up, and the head is on the right, because yes, that's how it made it work. So it's actually on Malcolm's side. So the head's bumping. The actual practical effect is bumping the car, but then as the camera pans up, it uses, like a blind spot in a car, where the front frame comes down, where the windshield goes in. It uses that bar to basically, when it turns the puppet's head and the camera comes up, the bar now of that portion of the car will cut off where the puppet's still sitting. But as we clear, we now have a CGI Tyrannosaurus Rex now marching over to that car. And it's a perfect transition, and you can, especially in 93, you probably could barely tell. But it's great because you have that practical effect. We established, the creature is there, it's physical, it's interacting with the environment, so you can feel the weight of the creature, so that when we transition to it marching over to the car, it has some weight to it. Which, of course, then also puts you in the element of feeling what the characters are feeling. You're on edge, and you're scared and excited, and it's great. And I think that is the best way to do CGI. You blend practical with computer graphics. You know, it also helps that even back then they knew that the CGI was kind of going to stand out a little bit. And it helps that scene is nighttime in the rain, so you can really kind of hide the CGI-ness of it. You know, if you're not really sure what I'm talking about, go back and watch the scene where they first see the Brachiosaurus in the daytime, and it's very clearly CGI. You know, you can't mistake that. You know, textures kind of look a little flat, and yeah, it's the early 90s, so of course it wasn't anywhere near. It wasn't Avengers level like CGI is today. You know, but you can really tell that it's not actually there, and it's still a nice scene, mind you. I'm not saying the scene's bad, but you don't notice it that much then when you get to that scene. And that's one of the reasons why they blended very well with practical effects, and then you also, the way you're filming it with the environment and everything else, you can kind of cover up the fact that it's a digital creature that is not actually on the set. It's a great way to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of films nowadays, they just kind of lean more and more and more into just CGI and green screens. And again, it's a good tool. You know, there are some things you just can't film. I need a giant robot to crash through a tower. Okay, well, yeah, you're probably not going to practically do that, you know, in the real world, unless you want to do a miniature model, you know. But sometimes, depending on what you want it to look like, you can't get the movement that's going to look right if you're doing a practical model, little puppets and whatnot. So if you're a jaded jerk like me, counter argument to that would be, well, that's why you have CGI. You do the models and you use the CGI just to kind of fluff it and clean it up a little bit, so you can sell it and still have that weight. But it makes sense. There's just some things you need CGI for. But a lot of movies use are leaning a lot more on CGI. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's a distraction. But that's also kind of the fun of film. Figuring out what goes what, where, and why. And then how to make it look good. Another movie that does a decent enough blend between practical and CGI. I think it's the first Independence Day movie. That's kind of a strangely divisive film. Some people like it, but some people really hate it. And I get both arguments. It is a little cheesy. The writing, at least some people say, is kind of flat and plain and one-dimensional, which in some places, yeah, it kind of is. But I don't know. I really like that movie. I think the effects look great. I think the effects of the aliens destroying the cities, I mean, that's all practical. That's actually kind of cool how they used models on that one. To get the flames going through the city, they actually just filmed vertically. So kind of like how this camera's now filming down. That's what they did. They suspended a camera, and they had a model of, let's say, New York City, and they had a model looking straight down the street. So it was built vertically on a wall, right? But perspective being what it is, if I had that here, you wouldn't be able to tell that the camera's hanging upside down or looking straight down. And then they just shot the flame because flames go up because, physics. And then it just says the flames going up through the model, but in the camera it looks like the flames are going horizontally straight on. It's a neat little trick.
I wish they would go back to using miniatures more often.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Miniatures are fun. It's arguably one of the reasons why, the original Star Wars special effects were so great is spaceships were blended so well into space, and they were designed really well, and they're model ships. So you have that level of feel and weight to it that you sometimes don't always feel. Now, again, film's a visual medium. You're not actually holding anything. You're just watching it on the screen, which is why it's important how to convey the weight and the feel and the believability of these things. And practical effects does a really good job of that.
Didn't Darth Maul come back in like the Clone Wars TV show?
Yeah, supposedly he survived his fall after being cut in half.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's been instances of people losing limbs in Star Wars due to lightsaber and surviving, but before the prequels, no one got cut in half and lived. That's a little far-fetched.
I kind of feel the same way about Boba Fett.
He's a Sith Lord, though.
He is a Sith Lord, that is true.
Yeah.
And yeah, Boba Fett surviving the Sarlacc pit does kind of come off as a little fanficky, but the counter argument you could very easily make is both those characters are just designed to be cool characters. And so when you kill off cool characters and you're just kind of sitting there after everything's said and done, you're just like, well, I want to do more with those characters, but they're gone. Well, we got to bring them back, so...
Spoiler alerts for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah, spoiler alerts for anybody who's, for some reason, watching a Star Wars Lego build and hasn't seen Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett kind of unceremoniously gets knocked into the back in a clumsy, quote-unquote, at the time, death scene and gets dumped into the Sarlacc pit. But he survives, and that's been a part of canon, Star Wars canon, even during the Lucas extended universe. That he survived. He blasted his way out of the Sarlacc pit. So, if Boba Fett can survive, then yeah, why not? Sure. Darth Maul can survive being cut in half.
Alright, here's a hot question for you, all of you.
Alright, I like hot questions.
Favorite lightsaber fight?
Well, it's got to be... For me, it is Empire Strikes Back, Luke and Vader, because there's so much happening. So lightsaber fights, in my opinion, they're not necessarily about being flashy. That's nice icing on the cake, don't get me wrong, but they're more character moments. It's about Darth Vader confronting Luke and telling him, no, I'm actually your father. Luke having to face that reality. It's about... Luke showing that he's unprepared for this battle against Vader, and Vader's just testing him. We're seeing two characters face off with each other for the first time and are learning about each other and growing, and it's about the emotional stakes that are tied to the lightsaber battle. And I think Empire does a very, very good job of that. Put down the wrong side.
Okay, I'm going to probably be showing my age, and I'm going to probably offend some people in the office.
Well, I already fired you, so it's fine.
Not to name names.
Not to name names.
Not to name names, but Obi-Wan versus Anakin, Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
All right, I'll just leave now. I know.
No, you know what? No.
I'll leave.
Look, I don't think it. I think it tries to do what I explained about having emotion and feeling and whatnot between these two characters. The reason I would say tries because, at least for me personally, I didn't feel really tied to these characters because I don't think the characters were too well written. But it was very clearly that's what they were trying to do. So I get it. I totally get it.
Just remember, I was like 7 years old when the first Phantom of the Menace came out. So
I was in 5th grade when Phantom Menace came out.
I grew up with all those, so
that's fine. Look, I said
that's my trilogy.
I said at the start, you can like whatever you like. Don't worry about what I have to say. I'm just some jerk with an opinion. Like, you like whatever you like and enjoy it.
That will fire everyone that doesn't agree with his Star Wars takes.
Well, I mean, I didn't say there wouldn't be consequences, but I'm saying you can enjoy what you like.
Obi-Wan taught Anakin the importance of having the high ground.
Big facts. That is probably the realest thing we'll hear all day.
Except when Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul when Darth Maul had the high ground.
That's when Obi-Wan learned the importance of having the high ground, and then in episode 3, he taught it to Anakin.
But Obi-Wan jumped over Darth Maul and killed him when Darth Maul had the high ground. So honestly, actually, the lesson is you don't want the high ground, because you can still die from a Jedi cutting you in half. Or don't die, you survive being cut in half.
Dude, that's when Obi-Wan perfected the technique, was in episode 1, okay?
So in episode 1, he figured, well, if I can do that to him, I have to make sure that no one can do that to me.
Yeah. Obi-Wan's the master of the high ground. Case closed.
Okay, what's your favorite duel? There's no wrong answer.
No, you're right. There are no wrong answers. I would have to say Luke versus Vader in Return of the Jedi. Because, like, when I first saw it, I really thought that Luke was gonna kill Vader. And I was a really little kid when I watched the original trilogy. Like, my mom made me watch the original trilogy before she let me watch the prequels.
Good woman.
And I really thought that Luke was gonna kill Vader and, like, give in to the Emperor. Like, I had no idea how it was gonna end. Because I was, like, 8.
Right.
Well, funny you should bring that up, because that was originally how George thought he would end it. For at least a brief moment. He was going to have Luke fall to the dark side.
Yeah, but then didn't he have, like, Luke wear, like, a white undershirt and, like, his black, like, Jedi clothes, like, open at some point to show that, like, he was on the
blue.
light side all along?
Blue underneath.
Whatever.
No, it whatever. You nerd.
I know that's a very, like, English teacher, like, interpretation.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's supposed to. The reason he's wearing colors play a big role. Again, film is a visual medium, so you're conveying information even when no one's talking. Honestly, you should be conveying most of your information not from dialogue. Yeah. I mean, Luke. You see him as we get into. He's wearing gray in Empire. Because he's still learning, he's kind of in a middle ground area, and he's wearing black because he is at that point. He's drawn, like he's been lied to essentially, or as he thinks he's been lied to, and he's heading down a dark path. He wants to destroy the Empire, but it's starting to get into more personal, selfish reasons. And he's not really sure where to go. So that's why he's wearing black there. It's supposed to symbolize, a father and the son. But he has part of his front shirt open, which is a light blue underneath, showing that he's still good inside. And at the end, when he's, using hate to defeat Vader, the Emperor's proven a point, like, yeah, this is really powerful. This is how you be, power. But Luke realizes as he looks to see his robotic hand versus his father's basically robotic body is when he realizes that he's just going down the same road and it's just going to end with more death and more destruction, and that's when he makes his sacrifice. That's what it means to be a Jedi, is sometimes you have to make a sacrifice to do the right thing. The right thing, and winning doesn't necessarily mean you physically beat your opponent to a pulp, because you're no better than they are at that point. And that is the moment that Luke truly does become a Jedi. He throws away his lightsaber and he says, I'm a Jedi, I'm not going to do this. And that's why Palpatine's so angry. Mm-hmm. He loses a potentially stronger apprentice to do his work, and Luke, facing all odds, defies the Emperor. Basically gives him the proverbial middle finger, which is awesome. Yep, not going to cut to that shot. Thank you, Jim. And then he basically uses that as a way to bring his father back. Okay, not including the prequels or the Star Wars sequel films from Disney. Let's take Disney out of the equation. What is your favorite Star Wars spin-off game or book or anything like that pre-Disney? If you have one. Maybe you don't. But if you do.
To be honest, I never really played the Star Wars video games.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's all right.
I played I think out of like everything I played, the Lego Star Wars games the most.
Okay.
That and even though they didn't get good reviews for some reason, I played the Rebel Strike games a lot.
Rebel Strike games. What are those? Remind me. What's that?
It was basically like where you did like any mission like involving ships from the original trilogy. Oh, and Battlefront.
Oh, Battlefront.
Especially
yeah.
Battlefront 2.
Well, Battlefront 2 is the best Star Wars.
Yeah.
One of the best Star Wars games ever.
Yeah.
The original.
I played that game like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that as a concept started as a mod for a game called Battlefield 1942, which that game took place in World War II setting, which is fitting because Star Wars is essentially World War II in space with space wizards. And Battlefield was the first game to really have large-scale fighting with not only ground combat but also driving vehicles around. A revolutionary game of its time. Anyway, sidetracking. The mod, someone built a mod, or a group of people built a mod for that game called Galactic Conquest. And it was exactly what Battlefront became later on. It was a proof of concept, essentially. And it was pretty fun. People made fun maps with that. They modeled, textured, and brought in, X-Wings, TIE Fighters, all that stuff. It was great. And then EA, now I don't know if the modders got picked up for jobs. I'd like to think that they did. And they built Battlefront 1. And, just to see on a high scale level if it can still be done, and of course it was. And then they made Battlefront 2, which is, as we all know, is one of the best Star Wars, big battle games ever. I liked Shadows of the Empire. They came out with that as they were working on the prequels. That one's an interesting story, actually. So Shadows of the Empire was not a series, but a book, a story that takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And it's basically focused around tracking down Han Solo in Carbonite, where Boba Fett's taking him, and then the manipulation that's being done from the criminal underworld to gain favor with the Emperor, and how that impacts our heroes and villains. Plays a character called Dash Rendar, who is canonically a friend of Han Solo. He raced Han Solo, his ship, the Outrider, against Han Solo's ship, Millennium Falcon. Han Solo, of course, won. Dash has a good... Dash, at least in the story, think of him as like a bro kind of guy. Like if you... Like, he got a really nice, fast ship, right? But he doesn't really put, he puts work in and takes care of it. But he doesn't necessarily upgrade things or whatnot. He just thinks, well, this is the new, biggest, brightest thing, and I'm so awesome, so I'm perfect. So he'd tell Han Solo, well, I let you win. Even though he didn't. He got smoked by Han. But he has an interesting arc as the character that you play, or the character that you're following when you're reading the book, where he learns to be humble and grows and becomes a better character for it. And it's really fun because they made it. They had a book that was written. It's a good book, good read. But then they made a game for the N64. Yeah, we're going that far back, folks. They made a game for the N64, basically following the story, and you play as Dash Rendar. And they made a soundtrack for the game. Jim, can you pull up who did the soundtrack? I'm drawing a blank right now. Who did it? Soundtrack to Shadows of the Empire. Full-blown soundtrack. And the soundtrack appears in the game. And the composer that did it is friends with John Williams. And he actually got John Williams' blessing to do it.
Joel McKinley?
That's it.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I think I'm right?
Yep, that's him. He did the soundtrack for it, and it's good. It's good music, and it fits right along with John Williams' stuff. I recommend that to anybody. Book, game, just the soundtrack. If you just want to listen to some more Star Wars music, now you're not necessarily looking for anything more than that. I would recommend Shadows of the Empire's music. It actually, in the re-release of Battlefront, when EA re-released that recently, they slipped in some Shadows of the Empire music into that, which I thought was kind of cool. End of match, when you're looking at your scoreboard at the end, you can hear Shadows of the Empire playing one of the tracks that plays, which I got a kick out of. I know that's a game that's a little divisive as to whether or not it's really, good or not. And, if you want to have a big conversation, there's something to be talked about of what you look for in a Battlefront game and whatnot. But I was pleasantly surprised to hear Shadows of the Empire soundtrack in a modern game. It's fun to hear that back. I have ingrained into my head how to do the cheats for that game. Because the N64 with that weird controller, if anybody out there you're watching, if you remember those days, you probably remember how to do the cheats, because they were such a pain in the butt, because you had to name a save file a certain name, which I remember was called Wampa Stompa, and you had to hold down all the buttons on the controller and move that center stick, not all the way to the left and right, halfway left and right. And it was a pain in the butt to do, and you needed, they said you needed 2 people in order to do it. But being a little kid, and you got plenty of time when you're a little kid, I found a way on how to do that all by myself without having any help. And if you look up the instructions on how to do it, you'll probably get why the way to do it is I had to actually use my mouth on the actual stick so I can move it in place halfway left, right, and you'd hear like a beep or whatever to turn on basically the console commands, the cheats. Back in the day, kids, replayability was you beat the game and then you went back and played through it with cheats. That was a replayability. My favorite little Easter egg in that game was in one of the levels called Gaul, and it happens in the book, where they're tracking down Boba Fett to find where he's taken Han. He goes to Gaul spaceport to refit his Boba Fett to refit his ship, and so you land, playing as Dash Rendar, you land at Gaul to track down Boba Fett. And the start of the mission has you on your ship. Just to, you walk out of the ship, to then go and do the mission. But there are doors on the ship because, well, of course, it's a spaceship. You can, you can't walk through the rest of the ship. It's just the main compartment because it's we're talking 90s days of N64 tech, But there are doors you can interact with. Dash Rendar has, Han Solo has a Wookiee. Dash Rendar's companion is a robot called Lebo. And so, being a kid, you just want to explore everything. So when the start of the mission, you go up to the door, and I wanted to open the door, see if you get in the cockpit. And you do that, Lebo pops up in a little text box, and he says, well, we can't, we don't have time. You have to go chase down Luke. Basically, it was an excuse as to why you can't open the door. Basically, as a cue to tell the player, you have to leave the ship. You have to leave the ship. You have to go play the mission. The mission doesn't continue on the ship. Whatever. But if you keep interacting with the door, Lebo gets angrier and angrier with you before he finally says, "We're never going to get paid if you stay here all day, sir." And then if you press the button again, he just goes, "Go away, sir." And you just keep pressing, like, "Go away, go away, go away." It used to crack me up as a kid. So I think now we put the leg on here, and I think that'll do it for bag 4. Yep. All right, so we're gonna get ready to get everything ready for bag 5, and we'll continue on with the rest of the legs here. That came apart real quick. So we'll go ahead and get that fixed, and we will press on with our build. We'll be right back. Okay, well, I think we're just going to kick it off then. Yeah, see what they got. See what other Legos they have. Because I have the Lego set with the Tyrannosaurus Rex escaping the paddock scene from Jurassic Park. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not on here.
You did mention that.
I did mention that, okay. I don't know, it's one of the ones we can do. That's a little bit of a bigger set. So I think what I said before, I'll say it again. If we decide to do that, settle in, folks. That's going to be a multi-stager. But it looks real cool. I'm already missing. Oh, here it is. I was about to say, I just got started. I'm already missing a piece. That didn't take long.
No, they're all super tiny, so they probably all look the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it's just the blacker pieces too, so they're kind of blend in.
Well, it's just like Lego Batman said, I only work in black. It's sometimes very, very dark gray.
There was a set. Actually, I probably should try to find it. There is one of those black box sets for the '89 Batman, where they did a fairly accurate Batmobile. And I think it is the same thing from the Batwing as well from that movie. Let's try to find those. Maybe we could do that set. Seeing anything good, Jim?
I'm looking for potential future builds for us.
I think there's some Pokemon ones.
Do we want to continue with Star Wars themes, or do we?
Well, whatever we
want to branch out.
Well, here, how about we?
Branch
Let's branch out, but also for you viewing folks at home.
If anyone ever has suggestions, be sure to.
Yeah, please leave a comment at the bottom of this video, or if you're watching from your comfortable couch at home on TV, feel free to send us a message at info@mybatv.com.
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like the video.
Oh yeah, like the video too.
And
but yeah, if you think of
comment.
any specific set you'd like to see us build, let us know. We'll see what we can do. Okay, well that didn't take long, so I'm missing one of these one piece with the 4 dots. I only had one. I used it. Right? Oh no, I used... Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I accidentally... It's not supposed to... So it's supposed to be...
I do see a couple fun ones.
What'd you find?
Well, I did find a couple Marvel props that we could build.
Oh, that'd be cool.
For all the Marvel fans out there.
We got Mjolnir. Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer is one of the options.
That one could be fun. How many pieces is that one?
Oh, let me go look back to that one real quick. 979 pieces.
Ooh, settle in for that one, folks. We do that one.
That would take lots of episodes.
That'd definitely be a multi-part one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. Heck, we could do a build along at home type thing. I think the biggest set I ever did was the Pelican from the video game Halo. That one was like a 1,000 something pieces. That one took me, oh boy, bouncing back and forth between throughout the day, or excuse me, throughout the year. Probably took me about 6 months put that together.
Yeah, there's a couple sets on the website that look pretty intense.
What else? What else did you find?
Well, the Hulk Buster
Okay.
is 4,000.
Whoa!
Over 4,000. 4,049.
Whoa! Oof. That's like a season's worth of
It really is.
of a build right there.
Yeah. That's crazy.
They got that new Rivendell set from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see, I still want to, like I said, I still want to track down that Battle of Helm's Deep set. If I can get a hold of that, that would be fun to put together. Favorite Star Wars battle? I don't think we've talked about that yet.
Like lightsaber battle?
Or any.
And no, lightsaber battle's something different.
Yeah.
Any battle that involves the entire rebellion.
Oh.
So big battle.
Andrew, you go first.
Battle of Hoth. Battle of Hoth, Battle of Hoth, Battle of Hoth. Favorite battle.
First Death Star.
Ooh, good pick too.
That's probably what I was gonna go with, if I'm being honest. Have you seen any of the Lego movies?
I only saw the first one, but I loved it so much I saw it twice in theaters.
It was a classic. instant classic. But yeah, that's the only one I've seen too.
Now that's the one Will Ferrell plays the dad, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen parts of that one. It's pretty good.
This guy. Only seen parts.
Yeah, well, you know, some of us aren't men children or women children, all right? Now,
Yeah, okay.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to continue building and playing with my Legos. Obviously, that was sarcasm.
God, it's been like almost 10 years since that movie came out, because that movie came out when I
God.
was a senior in high school.
God, it has been that long, has it? Yeah, what year did it come out?
The Lego movie came out in 2014.
Yup.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it's been about 9 years.
Yeah.
Oof. Time flies, folks. What piece am I looking for?
It's a pretty stacked cast, though, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who all was in it?
My goodness.
I know Morgan Freeman is, Will Ferrell.
You got Chris Pratt.
Oh, that's right. That's right, he played the hero.
You got Jonah Hill, Charlie
jeez.
Day, Liam Neeson.
Wow.
Let's see who else. You got Dave Franco. There's a few. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, it was stacked. I love Charlie Day's character, the little spaceman.
Well, Charlie
And
Day is a great actor.
He's fantastic.
He's hilarious.
And
Channing
Lee-
Tatum.
Oh.
I know Channing Tatum was in the Lego movie. That's awesome.
Nick Offerman.
And Liam Neeson as like the good cop, bad cop.
Oops.
I think my favorite part of that whole movie is when Wildstyle and Batman are arguing, and Batman like groans so hard that his whole head like spins around.
Now, who voiced Batman? That was,
Let's go back.
I'm drawing a blank because I think they wanted him to either voice or be Batman in something else. Like, it wasn't Lego related.
Will Arnett.
That's it. Yeah, did a surprisingly good job.
Wait, isn't that the guy who voices BoJack Horseman?
You are correct.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, he's actually has started out known. Sorry, folks, I put the wrong thing on here. He's known for just being a comedic actor.
Oh yeah, in Arrested Development.
Yep.
Arrested Development. Let's see what else.
But I first like heard him in BoJack Horseman, so anytime I see or hear him in anything else, I'm just like, oh, that's BoJack.
Yeah, he's in a lot of comedies.
And now he does those Reese's peanut butter commercials.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff that he might not even realize that he did.
Yeah, I only recently began watching Arrested Development for the first time.
Never got into it.
Only
Seen
the
some
first
scenes.
couple seasons are funny.
I'm an Office fan at heart.
Well, The Office, I mean, that's at like a whole nother level.
It's the holy grail.
Yeah.
It really is. One of the best.
Controversial opinion.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec is better.
Ooh. That was Audrey, everybody. You can direct your emails. I've seen some of Parks and Rec. That show is pretty funny too, for sure.
But The Office.
Well, The Office, Arrested Development. A lot of those shows are kind of Office spin-offs anyway. At least Parks and Rec is. It's essentially the same cadence.
A lot of the same humor.
Yeah. What's the reality type show? Is it Arrested Development? The one where I forget the actor's name, but the guy who played Ted Bundy in Married with Children.
Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill, that's his name. Yeah, he's been a part of 2 really successful shows now. Between Married with Children and
Modern Family.
Modern Family. That's it. Modern Family.
He's a funny actor.
Yeah, he is. They always say it's a good way to gauge your age or your aging is how you look at Ted Bundy. Do you see him as a grumpy old man, or do you see him as someone you can totally relate to?
Or maybe you don't know who that is?
Oh, come on. You know Married with Children. Everybody knows Married with Children. The whole show takes place in the Chicagoland area.
No.
I've
Nope.
seen it.
If you pulled up a clip of Married with Children, you would know.
I
mean, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I've heard of it, I just don't think I've ever seen it. It's like, you know what I watched, in the morning in grade school?
This was definitely on it in the mornings.
No, that was not a morning show.
When after the show, finishing it, yeah, it was.
Yeah, sure, once it was done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the reruns.
Nope. I do not recognize any of the images you're showing me.
It's pretty funny.
What I watched in the morning before going to school was Full House.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's seen Full House.
That was more of a afternoon show in my house.
All right, everyone. So we have finished with all the arms finally, and we are now going to move on to the head and the last part of this build. So we're going to reset, and we'll be right back. All right. Cool.
So
all right.
What's our budget for?
What's our budget to? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, find me some Lord of the Rings.
Well, that's going to have to get bleeped out because we're recording.
Find me some Lord of the Rings stuff.
Okay, so we're now on to the head. And as soon as we get this done, then we should have the entire piece done. So, pretty exciting. And away we go. Yeah, I don't know what our budget is exactly for future projects. But this is a lot of fun. We're having fun. If you guys are having fun at home watching this, whether you're just watching it to watch it, have it on the background, or building along with us with the same set or your own set, I'd like to keep doing this. So I think it kind of boils down to if anybody has any specific sets for us that they'd like to see us build.
It's mandatory that they're having fun, Andrew.
Well, I mean, of course. Did I already goof this up here? Well, that didn't take long, did it, folks? I think these parts are...
Excuse me.
Maybe... That's interesting. Oh, no, wait. It's because this is angled. Okay. As I said, the elementary school teachers were right. Andrew, pay attention.
When I went to Target the other day, I completely and utterly did walk by the Target's brand of like Legos.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Anything good?
I did check out all the Pokemon ones,
Naturally.
but they pretty much range from like small ones that are only like 100 to like 200 pieces to like the giant Butterfree I showed you guys that's like 600 pieces.
Oh, yeah.
There's like nothing in between.
Well, Mega Constructs has some interesting or cool pieces to build as well. It might not just always be Legos here, folks. Might just do some Mega Constructs, too.
Yeah, they had a little Tyranitar that I think was like 200 pieces. It was only like a couple inches tall. I think it was like 4 or 5 or something.
Ah, yes. Tyranitar.
Alright, Gen 1er, we get it, old man. You don't know any Pokemon besides the original 151.
I don't need to know any more beyond the 151.
I'm not going to get into this with you right now.
I'm not gonna lie, I only know the originals.
See?
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Don't apologize for being right, Jim.
Oh my god.
I am staying out of this.
Alright, you
gonna
know what?
mute myself.
I get it, guys.
Gonna
Not
mute
everyone can be a Pokemon master. Not
wanna
everybody can
be
be as good as me.
The very best. You ever was.
Tyranitar is a Gen 2 pseudo-legendary.
Hey, the poker rep, that was my jam back in the day.
I love the Johto Journeys opening.
Yep.
It was a total bop. But anyway, it basically looks like Godzilla. It's like one of my favorite Pokemon. It's like this giant green lizard monster.
Okay.
And I saw it at Target and I was like, oh.
We can do that one. I've said it before, and I do love the original cartoon, don't get me wrong, folks. But it is kind of funny, at least for the first few seasons, your hero is basically... you're following one of the most exciting perpetual failures in the Pokemon League.
Yeah, it took Ash like what, 20 years
It took
to
a lot
win a
of seasons
championship.
to get a championship.
He just got a championship in, I think it was Sun and Moon, like the 8th season or something. Like it was recently. It was recently that he won his first championship.
It took him that long to win.
It took him that long. It was literally like a year or two ago that he finally won a Pokemon League championship.
Man, and I thought it was bad to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, I was about to say, can you imagine? Hey, if you're following the show, if you've watched the show, folks, picture this. You have devoted your life to being a gym master at Pokemon, and then this kid comes in and beats you, and you goes, you know what, there's something special about this kid. I'm going to follow him around. And then he just perpetually loses at every major match he goes in. You ever think he'd stop to wonder, maybe I shouldn't be following this person around anymore?
Never give up on your dreams, folks.
Well, that's true, too. All joking aside.
That's because Ash gives away like every good Pokemon he gets. Like he'll carry it around for like 10 episodes and then he's like, okay, go back to the wild. Like, I love you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you could also argue that's kind of the real, again, all joking aside, in all seriousness, that's probably the real message of the show is,
If you really
be
love
kind to
something, let it go.
creatures. Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to go that route, I was going to say just be kind to creatures and have fun, and that's all that really matters.
It's like how the
That's a
message
good
of
message.
the first Pokemon movie is fighting is wrong in a world where like that's the point of having Pokemon is to make them fight each other to get stronger.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I mean, it's you break if you really break it down, the whole universe of Pokemon's a little messed up.
Oh, don't get me started on the crazy Pokedex entries that are like really, really dark and creepy.
Well, I mean, that's actually an interesting point because I think there was like some tonally, I think they wanted to do something a little more dark or serious with Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then they ended up changing it a little bit. Which, hey, that's part of the creative process, everybody.
You remember seeing those memes? It would have like Star Wars and then like Pokemon or like Lord of the Rings or whatever. And it was like if you could pick any universe to live in, like which one would you pick?
Ooh, good question. You could pick any universe to live in. What would it be? If I could be a Jedi, I think I'd probably pick Star Wars. If I'm not just some regular Joe Schmo.
You could still be like a bounty hunter though.
Well, that's
or
true.
something.
Yeah, but then you got to go through Boba Fett, which is like the greatest bounty hunter ever at some point.
Well, you might not live at like the same time as Boba Fett.
Boba Fett never dies. He lives forever.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Up to.
If I can live in any universe, what would it be?
Yeah, you know what? My official answer is Star Wars. All right, Jim?
This is tough.
So what are the options? Star Wars, Pokemon?
I mean, you know,
I'm
I
literally
guess like any, you know, maybe, you know.
well,
Marvel.
why don't we do? Yeah, let's do the universes we've talked about so far this episode. So we have Star Wars, Pokemon, Lord of the Rings, Marvel.
I almost said something in Marvel, but I didn't want to get made fun of.
I'm not gonna make fun of you for liking Marvel.
No. I didn't mean like that. Like, it's so cliche to be like, oh, I want to be part of the Avengers universe or whatever. Like, but
Well, I mean, if you
I'm
like
gonna throw a little bit of a curveball.
Okay.
Alright.
I'm gonna go with the Hogwarts universe.
Ooh, Harry Potter universe.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Okay.
Riding on broomsticks and learning all the spells.
All right.
I'll take on Baltimore. Oh, can't say his name.
Well, now you've doomed us all, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Harry.
Mine would definitely be the Pokemon universe.
I expect nothing less from
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Big
anyone knows-
time. Like if I could like just make a living out of just like catching Pokemon and then battling people and taking their money.
I'm not gonna lie, if you would have told me any other universe that you wanted to live in, I would have probably have called you a liar.
Yeah. I'd be like, really, not the Pokemon universe?
hmm
I think it'd be really cool to be a gym leader.
I could see you as a gym leader.
If you can be a gym leader for any particular Pokemons, which one would it be?
Like a type?
Yeah, it's like a Pokemon type. Thank you. I knew I was saying that wrong.
I don't know, that's hard.
I'd take Fire type.
Charizard all the way.
Because then, there's so many like dual types, like throw curveballs.
Mm-hmm. Remember when they added in the ability, I think it was Pokemon Yellow, where Charizard could fly?
I do remember that.
Plus, like,
That was the
know,
last one I
upset.
played.
Yeah.
now you've got abilities and natures and, oh my god. It's so complicated now. Like, building a team. Oh. Plus, I wouldn't want to be, like, the first gym or, like, the last gym. I want to be, like, 6 or 7 or something
In the middle
like
of the
that.
pack.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that.
I've always was a fan of the psychedelic, or the psychic Pokemon.
Well, they were the strongest in the original release.
Yep. Gengar was one of my favorites.
Yeah, now that you have the physical special split where,
Or
you know,
Alakazam.
Ooh,
Ghost
I
type
loved Alex.
moves
I love
aren't
the way he looked.
physical.
He looked pretty bad.
Gengar, the whole Gengar line is so much better.
Oh yeah, they made Ghost type physical now. did so good on the last one. I didn't have to dump anything out. Ah, there they are. Again, some people are sitting at home like, it's right there! How are you not seeing that?
Yeah, you can just like zoom in on it and put like a big circle on it.
Big red circle. Hey, get John Madden here. Be able to point it all out. Maybe we should have like an ultimate build episode. Somehow get our hands on one of the giant like Star Destroyer. You know, like 800 to 900 piece one.
Oh.
And we live stream it.
You mean the one that costs $800 or $900?
Well, I mean, you know, if you think about it, it's only $1 a block. I mean, that's not that bad.
Oh my gosh.
And like I said, then we live stream it. And what does the live stream doesn't stop until it's complete.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
Woof. Maybe do something like that for charity or something, right?
That's an idea.
Everyone have to take turns, cycle through people.
Just build blocks till we drop.
Yeah, pretty much. Just keep going and going and going. Wonder how long a stream like that would be. I bet if we were to do something like that, I bet we could have it built in a day. That's all. One day we'll have it built and it's good.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
and we'll do it on a Friday. I mean, come on, come on. What else do you want to do on a Friday?
Go home.
What? Instead of building Legos? Come on now. Could be worse. Could make you all do it on a Sunday.
Yeah, no, I'm not coming in on the weekend. You can pay me time and a half.
I mean, my Sundays have freed up a little bit now.
Jim,
Jim's
don't.
on board.
Now that
There we
football-
go.
now that
That's what I like to
football's over,
hear.
I do need a new hobby.
Yeah, let's do it. You know what? We're going to do it. All right? We're going to pick a Sunday. We'll start at like 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and we will just go.
2 a.m.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
See,
busy
Jim,
that day.
I'm glad.
Excuse me, 2 a.m.
Glad you're here, Jim. Just, it's ideas like that. I think that's really gonna
That's why you pay.
Make
That's why you
things-
keep me around.
try to keep you around. It's ideas like that that are really forward thinking.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
That's right. See, now what they need to make is a big Death Star.
Oh, man.
That'd be like 3,000 pieces or 4,000 pieces.
Yeah, there's a couple Star Wars sets that are over 6,000.
Ooh, what are those?
Those are the expensive ones.
Okay, okay. Pull them up, read them off.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
One.
Okay, I'm on the page. The Star Wars AT-AT-TM
Mm-hmm.
is 6,785 pieces.
Ooh. Be fun to put together.
How much is that one?
$849.
Well, I mean, talk about a deal. That's less than $1 a brick, guys. Come on. Come on.
Those bricks are not worth $1 each.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a good deal to me.
The Millennium Falcon's $849 too. Let's
There you
get 2
go.
of them.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Let's do both of
Let's
those.
do them both at the same time.
And then we'll reenact the whole Star Wars movie with our Lego pieces.
As a way to end it. The whole movie, start to finish.
Frame by frame.
Frame by frame.
Yeah, we'll do some stop motion.
Stop motion.
Heck yeah.
That would be something.
Let's go.
24 frames per second.
The Mandalorian Starfighter is... Oh, I thought I said 500. It's just 59. R2-D2 costs $250. Star Wars and Legos.
Do something wrong, 'cause it shows it. This is all on that. But if I do that, then this isn't gonna fit.
Did you follow the instructions, Andrew?
Yeah, I followed the instructions, Audrey.
You know what step 1 is? Breathe.
Well, I got that down.
I'm gonna bring in my copy of the Lego Movie so you can watch the whole thing.
Everything is awesome.
I think I have that on my phone because after I watched that movie
I think I know.
so many times, it got stuck in my head.
It's a good Friday song.
It is a good Friday song. I had a teacher that was so mad when the Lego Movie came out.
Really?
Yeah, because the bad guy for that movie, spoilers, was, President Business. And he was like, this is gonna teach kids that, business and capitalism is bad. And I was like, I think, you're missing the point of the movie. And he went on like a huge rant about how this movie was just awful and bad, and it had a bad message.
That's weird.
And I was like, I feel like we saw like 2 different movies.
Well, that's the fun of the cinema. There is just unique interpretations.
But also, this
Anything
is
and
like a history class. Like, I don't see how this is relevant.
I don't know. Oh, I see. What do I need? This. And 3 of these. I am not dumping anything. It's here, and I'm gonna find it.
Need some help?
No, I got it. See? It's right there.
Dump the bowls. Dump the bowls.
Nope. I'm a professional Lego builder, everyone. I don't dump the bowls. And don't count the ones where I did dump the bowls earlier.
Let chaos reign.
If chaos could rain, it would rain Legos.
You know what? Yeah. It would rain Legos, and it would take all of our socks and shoes.
I was about to say, take all of our socks and shoes off. Oh, this piece isn't supposed to be here. It's supposed to be there. And that, now I need you. Because you go mirror. Nope. Mirror. There.
I feel like there would also be like a couple spiders.
Also made of Legos.
No, like in the Legos.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because we had like a huge bin of just like assorted Legos when I was a kid, and I feel like every time I open it up to like build stuff, there would be like a spider in there that made its home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had a huge bin of Legos. Never had any spiders or bugs in it.
That was true fear.
Yeah, reaching in, don't know what you're gonna take out. Drop that piece. Right. That. And this. You know, you might not think it when you're looking at the box, but this thing does have a lot of tiny pieces to it.
You're in the home stretch now, though.
I know. We're almost there, folks. Let's finish strong. supposed to go like this, but how's it going to go like this if that's bumping into it? Or is it supposed to go forward? Yeah, which means this piece has to go forward. I did that. Ow. Ooh. That means this piece actually goes mirror. Yeah. Skip a step. Don't want to do that, folks. So you go there. Two-piece there. I don't know what he is. There we go. Uh-oh. I need one more. Black 4-piece. And I don't see it. I don't think I put one somewhere that shouldn't be.
What about all those extra pieces that we had?
Well, I mean, we might have enough extra pieces we can fudge it. Ah, there it is. It was under the little dome. We're okay, everybody. Nobody panic. I wasn't worried. I am in complete control. Now what do I do here? So is this supposed to cover those? Which means that goes there like that. That there. Careful not to bump the camera. Wonder how many times I've unknowingly done that. Made everybody at home sick. Just when you thought we were done with the little pieces, we now throw them all at you! Oop, that popped off.
Well, don't start breaking it now.
I know, you save that for later. Oh, last 2 stickers. There we go. Steady. Perfect, crooked, nailed it. All right. Yeah, that one's not so bad. That one actually is okay.
Oh, look at
Little spinny head. And now we do the antennas. The antennas that it used when I found the shield generator. And that, folks, is a completed Imperial probe droid. If there's a set you'd like to see us make, please let us know in the comments or send us a message at info@mybatv.com. If you'd like to donate to BATV to see more shows like this, please go to mybatv.com and click the donate button. Thanks again for hanging out with us. I've been Andrew.
I'm Jim.
and I'm Audrey.
We hope you had as much fun watching as we did building, and we'll see you next time.